Well, hello friends. Today we are going to work a little bit on the GUI again. And I figured I would do some checkable actions. So actions are these things that go in your toolbar here, and also they can go in the menu. So for instance, these actions here for switching the view type, they are G action objects, and those same G action objects are also present in this G menu here. They can also be activated with a keyboard shortcut. So what I want to do is I want to make these checkable so that whichever one is like the active view type has a checked appearance here and a checkbox here, or not a checkbox, a check mark. So that's what we're going to do. And I figured we would just get right into it. So let's start at G action, I think. So G action currently has enable state, but it doesn't have anything like a checked state. So let's start with is checkable, because not all actions are checkable. So let's just do that first. That would just be, let's just do it that way. And then we'll also, and then we'll also have is checked and set checked. Okay, and maybe we will be nice to our future selves and put this. And let's write it out in friendly English. Okay, and then we'll put some bools here and checkable false. Checked false. Okay, now let's go and implement some of those. G action. First of all, set checkable. I mean, this one you're only ever going to call once, really. So I don't know why I even wanted that out of line. Let's just do. Yeah, I don't care if you go and try to change the checkable state. I don't care about supporting that right now. That'll be something for my future self to worry about. But I do feel like I did add a set check. Did I make it return a bool? See, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Right. So first things first, if it's already the state that we want, then we don't do shit. Otherwise, we set the state, and yeah, we should just do what we do up here, that we iterate through each of the connected toolbar buttons and the connected menus, and set the checked state on them. Of course, there is no checked state on them, so that's the next step in what we have to do now. So we'll start with G button. Oh, wait, hold on. G button does have a checked state, but G menu does not. So I think we're going to get G button for free, but G button we don't get for free. So, I mean, G menu we don't get for free. And hold on, G menu item. That's the guy. So, set checked bool, set checkable. Yeah, okay. Set checkable bool. I mean, this is just going to be exactly the same business. So let's just put them down here. Okay. This guy goes out of line. And then we can write some quick ones like these. Is checked. Okay. Now this is the one that we want to implement. So let's go look at set enabled G menu item. So what set enable does is that it ignores no op changes and then calls update Windows Server. And so menus live in the Windows Server entirely. We just have like a blueprint for them in the client process. So what we do here is we just update the blueprint and then we send it all over to the Windows Server, and the Windows Server will go ahead and update the menu. And that's going to be great for this thing as well. So every checked. And let's assert this checkable. Okay. Yeah. And then in update Windows Server, we are going to want to pass along this info. Menu checked. Action is checked. And we're going to have to tell it if it's checkable, because otherwise things are going to get confused. And actually that tells me that, yeah, so if action is checkable, otherwise calling is checked is going to fail rather. Okay, so then now we are in the Windows Server API client message struct. We got to add those little bools that we were making here. So in the menu part of the union, we add checkable and the bool checked. And of course, this thing is 0 initialized, so all of these are going to be false. Okay. Right, I think that's cool. G action. So let's go look at G menu, because that's where we add actions. So this is where we create menu items. Make menu item for an action. That's fine, but then actually what that tells me something, that the menu item wraps the action. So it doesn't actually need to have this gunk about is checked or set checked, because it could just get it from the action. It's a little roundabout, because for enable, we actually, I guess we extract that from the action at some point. Whenever the action changes, but the menu item could also just update Windows Server directly and then fetch that info from the action. I'm gonna copy this state for now, but maybe in the future I'll go back and make this, normalize this so that there's only one copy of the state, but for now it's not so bad. So then we would be in G menu. So we're adding an action. And then here in realize menu, this is where we turn our local information into a server message, or a client message rather, that we send to the server. So here is where we put all the stuff in. And the thing that I was concerned about was the checkable state. So G menu item checkable. I guess I need to set that somewhere. So let's go in the G menu item constructor. Yeah, so here we get everything from the action. So let's also get M action, or M checkable. M action is, I mean, I see that it's what we already do for enabled actually. So this is a little bit sad, but not sad enough that I want to rewrite it now. Whatever. Okay. Okay, so here, now we're going to realize this menu, turn it into a server-side menu object. So menu.checkable, action is checkable. When do we even use the local copies of those states then? Okay. Well, okay, well, whatever. Let's just make progress. And maybe that maybe that copy thing will resolve itself as we go. Who knows? Okay. I think we're passing that along everywhere. Okay, well now we should also go in the file manager app here and make those actions checkable. It's the view as table action and the view as icons action. So let's just call this checkable true. And of course, this makes me realize that these things are mutually exclusive. So, how do we do that? I guess we can do it. Let's do it the manual way now, and then because I didn't have a chance to think about how this could work automatically. So, wait, hold on. I want to set this one as the enabled one and the other one as the disabled one, but they don't see each other because of the frickin' scope here. Okay, let's just do a little bit of a hack here where we just do this. View as icons. Okay, I'm gonna need these to be auto. And we can do this magical trickery here that we do view as icons action set checked false. And view as table action set checked false. And I guess I was just wondering which one is the original one. I guess it's this one. Set checked true. And just to make it everything really explicit. Okay. Hopefully this isn't how you have to program this thing as it evolves, but we're just starting out, so let's be nice about it. Blah, 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 blah. That looks good, I think. It's a little bit asymmetrical, so let's just do that. I should remember, Cube Creator has this cool like move line function. I should remember to use it more. And I should put that in my text editor too. Okay. Now we better go in the Windows Server code in the client connection and look at where we receive. Oh wait, hold on. No, in the event loop, we gotta look at when we receive these menu item things now, because they're going to have one more piece of information, or two more pieces actually. So here in add menu item, we are getting checkable and checked. So let's say checkable and checked. I'm going to just add those, and the same thing in update menu item. So those, and then we gotta go and add those to the constructors. It's my favorite thing in the world, is boilerplate. Okay, and checkable, checked. I mean, these things are always going to be initialized, so I don't know why I always bother to write out these initializers here. It's stupid. Okay, and before I forget, just put those there, and then it's checkable, checked. Okay, those here. These things could probably be the same damn object, actually. Adding a menu item and updating menu item has the exact same data. So I don't know why these are two separate objects, actually. They're two separate messages. Maybe they should just be a single one called something like define menu item. But that's a separate thing. I'm going to add it to the to-do, actually. Maybe unify, what are they called? Add menu item and yeah, okay. That's cool. So where are these things handled? In the client connection. Okay, so the client connection receives one of these update menu item requests. So it will just pass all of that good stuff onto the menu item in the Windows server. If request is checkable. Yeah. And then let's also look at no, wait, hold on. Add menu item request is here. And for that one, we need to do the same stuff. Oh, except here we are calling a constructor. So in this case, it's going to be checkable. And request is checked. Okay, and W as menu item will now take bool checkable false, bool checked false, and oh, so many instances of the same damn things being added. But we'll get there. Set checkable. Checked. Yeah, is checked, checked, and that they should be false by default. So, yeah, cool. I think maybe everything is hooked up now, except it's not going to paint any differently. So let's go and just make sure that we paint the menu a little differently. So we'll go in the Windows Server menu class in the draw function. And these are separators and these are text items. So I guess let's just do something really simple here first. So, oops, text. String text. If item is checkable, else, yeah, and then we'll do something really grotesque here, like, yeah, like this. Is checked. Okay. Wow. And before we start, I'm gonna fire up Vim here for some reason. I don't even know why. And make us boot into the file manager by default. And then we'll build everything. Oh, of course, there's a high chance that I forgot something and it's not even gonna build. Yep. Yeah, I forgot the menu item, Windows Server menu item constructor. Okay. Is there something that I didn't think about now? I guess here we call redraw when the state changes. I see. Well, we should do that for checked as well. Okay, so in menu item, we have to make sure that we redraw the menu because nothing else is going to redraw the menu for us. Menus are rendered in a slightly different way than everything else in the system. I guess it's something I should change eventually. So they're sort of drawn ahead of time, or more imperatively, into a buffer as we go, whereas other stuff is painted on demand. So there's always room for architectural improvements. What did I forget now? Main. No matching function for la 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 la. Yep. Line 150. Add action. I guess that's all I needed to do. 150, 177. Yeah, I guess because we were changing the type of these. Previously, they would deduce the auto to be retained, I think, which has slightly different semantics with regards to automatic copying. So this actually looks slightly less confusing now. But whatever. Come on, why don't you let me progress? Where did I mess it up now? View as table action. Add action is what? Oh shit! Gotta dereference. All right, and these things, they also take retain. Yeah, that's why they work so nicely, because they retained is basically it's the same as retained putter, except retained can never be null. It's not allowed to be null, and I'm using this super convoluted type state shenanigans here to give myself warnings if I accidentally use one of them in a state where it might be null, like after you move from it or something. But it's very similar to retain putter, but slightly different. And the whole idea was that I would have a retain putter type that I know is never null, so it's always fine to dereference it. But sometimes it's just these tiny little details make it a bit confusing to work with. Something did not work out at all because of my stupid assertion that I was adding. Yeah. Okay, where did that go wrong? G action is checked. I guess it was here somewhere. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm leaving the assertion. If n checkable. Screw you, I'm keeping it. But it means I have to rebuild. The build is getting longer and longer every day. I'm still okay with it, but it is getting a little bit painful. So while we build, let's go to the checkbox widget and steal his fancy little character bitmap here. And go to WS menu, because I think I'm going to use that here as well. It's not the most beautiful check mark, but it will work for our needs right now. So I'll just have that prepared down here. Or actually not in the loop, but let's say here, whatever. And we're gonna need to include character bitmap. Okay, well, everything built, so let's just see what it looks like. Okay, icon view selected. Plot, table view, not selected, but icon view is not selected either. Okay, so they've never become X again. And this one is not enabled. So a lot of things went a lot of strange directions there. So let's investigate. G menu item. I feel like maybe I accidentally set the enabled state somewhere. And yeah, here and set checked. Set checked. Not the nicest copy paste job, I have to admit. Did I set it anywhere else? No, okay. Okay, so I'll rebuild again. Let's think about the menu drawing. So I imagine that a check mark in the menu is going to need a little bit of extra horizontal space. So when we compute the width of the menu, we should take into account if anybody has any of our items is checkable, because then we're going to need a little extra space for that. So let's say that if the item that we are visiting here is checkable, then item with let's give it a comfy 13 extra pixels. I don't know, just some random number, really. See how it works out. Okay, switch to view type. So this, it still doesn't look quite right, but at least it was not disabled. Okay, so let's see what was happening with that. Set checked. For the menu item, when we update the Windows server, menu checked, action is checked. Okay, let's look at where we took care of that. Up here, we're passing those two in to update menu item request. Checkable checked. Checkable check. Checkable check. Checkable checked. Okay. And set checkable, set checked. Okay. And checkable is checkable. Set checked. Yep. Yep. So did I just make some stupid oversight here? Set check. Yes, I did. I did make a dumb mistake. I forgot to actually set anything to check. So view as table action needs to be checked after this point. And here view as icons action needs to be checked. So that's why it wasn't working. Okay. And let's make a little command line. Okay. Plop, 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 plop. Table icon. See that? Yeah. It's not the most beautiful X, but it is an X. Cool. These things don't look checked, or even checkable. So are we forgetting G toolbar? Let's see. Yeah, because we never passed it on. So what? Here's G toolbar add action, which is where we create a button for each of these actions. So what we want to do here is go to G button set action, and then set checkable action is checkable if action is checkable. Set checked. Action is checked. But They still don't look right, do they? So is this a painting issue, perhaps? Maybe this thing doesn't have. Let's turn off the cool bar look momentarily and just see if this is. Wait, hold on. Cool bar. I would have thought that this is where that would get set. Maybe I'm just totally. Oh fuck! Yeah. I didn't relink. That was the issue. So because I think that when we repaint, here's the button painting code, and here's the cool bar stuff. So it's cool bar and it's disabled, but it's not disabled. It's a cool bar and it's, I guess, pressed. Or no, checked. Well, we'll find out now. Yeah. Okay, so you can see now these buttons have a glorious checked appearance, and it follows along up here. And oh, look at that. Icon comes first here and not first here. That's not good enough. We gotta fix that. Let's see. View icons first. There we go. Can't have that kind of inconsistencies. Okay. Then we just want to bring back the old appearance, and we should have some way. Oh, geez, it's a little bit warm here. We should have a way to draw this in a cool bar style when checked. So what do we do up here? If pressed or checked? I guess we can just do the same gunk actually. So do that button. And say pressed or checked. And I should clean. Make sure that we relink. Okay. Look at that. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, that's more like it. Now we just got to do something about this menu up here, because that's not good enough. So we already added, what was it, 13 magical pixels of space. So then, actually we know how wide it is, so let's just put this up here. And we'll say +4, slightly less magical. And then left padding, translated. Okay, we'll say rect. So if it's checkable, then the text rect is otherwise. The text rect is what we had down here already. So the text rect. Oh, actually, we can do this, and then we can just, oops. So we set the text rect up here, and then if it's checkable, then we move the rect a little bit. So we say move by check bitmap with +4. Yeah, okay, not perfect, but it works. Hidden text. Okay, now we just have to paint the check mark. It's checked. Painter, draw, bitmap. I guess where the text rect would originally be is pretty good. Let's try it. Let's check bitmap. Black. Okay. Tap, tap. Oh, it's a little bit off, but the idea is good. So let's just fix that up. So how tall is this thing? I guess text rect height. Okay, so let's do something like rect text check mark rect is text rect location.x whatever y, and then as check bitmap width as check bitmap height. And then we do this, one of my favorite functions ever, center vertically within text rect. And then we should be able to just draw at the checkmark rect location. Tap, tap. Look at that. Ah, very, very nice. I should probably add a little more space on side. I mean, this is really fugly what I'm doing right now, but just to see it. I like it. It's very, very cool. Okay, that's great. Let's not have that magical constant there. Let's have a magical constant here. Padding is 6. Okay. This, I don't want to keep it looking like this forever, but for now this works. Yeah, that builds. Okay, so let's do a patch review. So, text is big in this terminal. Okay, so in the main file for the file manager app, we now put these G actions into pointers here so that these lambdas can refer to them. And then when we click one of the actions, we set that one to checked and set the other one to unchecked. Yep, yep, yep. And we set them up with sensible defaults. Okay. That's fine. And then here, yeah, we have to do reference when we add them to the menu and to the toolbar. Also note that we changed the order so that they are consistent between menu and toolbar. This was just a little hack to make File Manager start up automatically. We'll get rid of that. And okay, then we look in G-Action, set checked. Detect no ops. Then go through all the buttons, tell them that we're checked. Then go through all the menu items, tell them if they're checked. Then here's a bunch of boilerplate for G-Action. And in G button set action, when we apply or set an action on a G button, then we copy the checkable state and also possibly the checked state. Likewise, down here, when we realize a G menu, then we pass the checkable and the isChecked state to the Windows server. And here we do the G menu item constructor. And a G menu item set checked. We'll just change the checked state, and if it actually does change, we update the Windows server. And in update Windows server, we pass the checkable state and the checked state. Cool. G menu item gains checkable and checked properties. Look like what you would expect. Okay, so here in the client message, we're adding those two flags. Then now we're in the Windows Server client connection where WS menu item constructor takes these two new arguments here. So we're just forwarding that from the request. And an update menu item request, then instead of constructing a WS menu item, we are just updating an existing one. So we just pass it on to the setters. Okay, and here are the WS API client request objects that I talked about unifying because they are identical. And in this patch, they appear to be identical as well. So these are really just like event loop message objects within the Windows server. So the API client message is converted into one of these event loop objects, essentially. And this is where that happens. We call post event to the client with one of these requests that we build based on the various stuff from the union in the client message. And the same thing down here for update menu item. Okay, now we are in Windows Server menu. We copy paste the beautiful check mark. And then, okay, so when we compute the width of the WS menu, if it's not checkable, oh, see, that's not right. Width not checkable. See, we gotta see what happens if we do that differently. So I think we never actually saw what it looks like with the padding added. Looks fine, I guess. Let me just see. Yeah, so this is the expected amount of padding on this side, and same on this side. Oh geez, I didn't rebuild. Go away. Right. Yeah, this looks good. Okay. So that's why we have review. Right, so what's the width? Yeah. So if it's checkable, then we add the bitmap width and the bitmap padding to the item width. This is for computing how wide the WS menu should be. Okay, and then in WS menu draw, we instantiate the checkmark bitmap once. And then, let's see, okay, so then if an item is checkable and it is checked, then we compute the checkmark rect, center it within the item text rect, and then draw the checkmark there. And we always move the text a little bit to make space for the check mark. Cool. And then we just draw the text like we always do. Right. Then in Windows Server menu item constructor, we have these two new arguments that we pass along to the initializer list. Blah, blah, blah. In menu item setChecked, right, yeah, so if the check state changes for Windows Server menu item, then we redraw the menu sort of eagerly. Right, and then here are the Windows Server menu item declarations. That's good. Nothing crazy here. And finally, the Style Painter paint button for the check state, because we didn't have any, we didn't handle the check state in the button painting code. Cool, I think that's cool. Let's commit this. Lib3 plus Windows Server, make G actions checkable. Make it possible to have checkable G actions. They show up as checkable G buttons and G toolbar, and check with or without check marks in all those server side menus and then in the menus. There are a bunch of places to make use of this. Dispatch only takes advantage of it in the file manager or the view types. Okay, cool. Let's see, one more time. It's beautiful. Plop, 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 plop. Cool. Okay, so I think that about does it for today's video. So if you made it this far, then I thank you for watching and I thank you for coming back. And I hope you saw something interesting here, and I will see you next time.